PERT. So now we'll see what is PERT. PERT is a short form of project evaluation and review technique. The basic difference between PERT and CPM lies in the view of the emphasis point. So where you're going to emphasize the thing that is going to differ between PERT and CPM. Otherwise, both are going to give you more the same outcome. CPM gives more emphasis on operations of project, whereas PERT gives more importance to the event. And the CPM is going to give emphasis on activities, but PERT, it is going to give importance to the event. So time is most essential and basic variable in PERT. So it is assumed that some factor of uncertainty in estimating time, which is there in any operation which has not been done before. So that CPM is going to emphasize on the operation or the activity, and PERT is going to give importance to the event. So understand that. So it is generally observed that the time required to complete any job or activity is non-deterministic and due to the following reason. First one, human skill required in doing the various jobs like welding, painting, or subject to performance visibility due to fluctuations in human behavior and natural fatigue. So various jobs like welding and painting, if you see, it is subject to performance variability. You cannot expect the same completion of activity from each person. So that cannot be done because it will be variable because of human behavior and fatigue. So some might be very good, but some might not do it with that much skill. So these human skill is variable. It is not same from person to person. Uncertainty due to variation of nature of work. Example, time taken required in doing a particular task depends on the nature of inputs, which may vary from time to time. Each task is going to be unique. Each task requires a different input, produces a different output. The time taken is also going to vary from time to time. So availability of resources varies from time to time. Example, procurement of raw materials. Sometimes raw materials may not be available throughout the year. So you have to wait for the raw materials to arrive. Delivery of machines, manpower, availability may vary from period to period. So all these things can delay the completion of an activity, and it is time bound. It is very dependent on time. So you cannot say that everything requires a constant amount of time. No. So theoretically, you can say it requires same amount of time, but practically it doesn't do so. Changes in environmental factors like rain, temperature, and other local conditions may affect the duration of some activities. In the summer, you know that people tend to become tired, so the completion may get delayed. Okay, so the rainy season, temperature, pandemic, when you are not allowed to go and work physically, those things are going to delay your project. Activities based on R&D is usually uncertain. Yes, that is a very, very important thing because you never know when you will get the output. So it might take him, it might be next day, or it might be the next month, or 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. You have to wait. It is completely uncertain. Due to the presence of uncertainty in duration of various activities, the deterministic approach of CPM becomes unrealistic. So because of all these reasons, what we have discussed previously, so the approach used in CPM becomes unrealistic. So you cannot uh, you cannot assess things based on activity. So that activity based thing is not good because the following reasons what we stated. This uncertainty should be countered by using a probabilistic approach. Yes, definitely the randomness of the activities, you have to quantify them using probabilistic approach. So the number of activities may not have a single critical path, but they will have probably many critical paths. So per the project evaluation review technique, it deals with projects whose activities are non-deterministic. Deterministic means you can initially measure or count or allocate a particular time for completion for these things. But if it is non-deterministic, means completely random. So we will try to find an estimate of time using some statistical method. So we'll predict what is the time required for completion of the activity by using a probability method. So this expected duration, you will predict the expected duration of the project. So you cannot exactly say what is the time taken, but you can definitely predict the duration of the project, and you can see whether what you have predicted and what has happened is actually correct or there is some deviation. So the three time values are used for each operation in PERT. First one is an optimistic time. It is the shortest possible time to complete the activity if things go well. So this is an optimistic time. Optimistic time means you are remaining positive. You are saying that the activity will be completed in the shortest possible time. Next one, most likely time. So this activity model value of distribution or the time when if the activity is repeated number of times. So how much time the same activity is getting repeated. That is the most likely time. Last one, pessimistic time, the longest time taken for the activity to complete under adverse conditions. Because of the following reasons I told you before, the longest time taken to complete the activity, and it is very, very difficult to estimate such thing. Pessimistic